creating a table, a form with HTML and styling with CSS. The last class, the last training we did, we actually created a form and used inline styling to do our styling. Today we are going to create another form, a registration form, using the internal styling to do our styling. So now let's comment now. Now we have already created a folder called training, and inside this folder we will create the file. I come here, I click on my VS Code, and I create the file. The file, I will name it index.html. Index.html. I name it index.html and I press enter. It's trying to create the file. Now it has created the file. The next step in my development of the form is what we have to create a template inside our index.html. And here, the simple way of creating the template, if you're just a beginner using HTML, you press your shift key. You press a shift key down and go to the key where you have number 1, where 1 is written. You also press it. It gives you, once you do that, those 2 keys are pressed down, it gives you this view. The next thing, you now tap the enter key, and it gives you your template. Now this is a template that we will be using to build our HTML registration form. So like we did in the last training, now first thing that you first of all do, that I normally do, especially for beginners, you create your center like this, and you do this, and you press the enter key, to separate it. Then now I always employ everybody when you are doing your HTML development. Always make sure you encompass or pack everything you are doing inside a div. The div comes in handy when you are doing your CSS styling. So the next thing after the center, you do a div, the IV, you do a div, and you say enter. Then inside this div now, you now call your form tag. You now call the form tag FORM, form tag, like this. And you do this, and inside the form tag again, I will employ you to create another div. This is the div that will be holding the elements that will be using, that is the input elements now. And so when you want to style, you can also style this div to give the colors or to our input, the input text that we'll be using. So here you create another div, the IV, like this. Then you press enter. Now we want to begin to create our form, and we use the input tag. In the last class, I told you that the input tag is a way of collecting information from users. So I now say input. I say input, then I say space, and I say type, TYP. By saying type, you're asking what kind of data type do you want, and the data type that I want here now is text, TEXT. Then I now come outside. I now say name, NAME. This name, actually, by the time we begin to do PHP, when we go into PHP, you will see the relevance of this name. This is the name that will be tying us to the database. So here, I put name. You must always give it something that is very, very simple and straightforward. So I just give it name, NAME. I come and I say placeholder, PLACE, place. The placeholder actually is what tells you what should be inside the form. Like now, when people go to the form, I want them to see enter your name. So I just put inside the placeholder, I say enter name, enter name. I come outside like this now, and I now say what required. Actually, this required is, like I told you last time, is the first step or the first layer of security. Let me put it that way. Then you now close it like this. Then you put your BR. The BR actually is a break tag. It gives makes the form comes out well, and you give your HR. The HR is just a line that I normally draw. It's just preference. It's not as if it is anything spectacular. Then I come here again and I do input again, input, and I say type, TYPE. We are doing a registration form now and not at a login form, so it will be a little bit different. Here too, I now say type. I come inside like this and I say type. Now the input type, I want to put here I want to put an email address. So I say input type. I come, I say email, email. I come and I say name, NAM, name. I do this and I say email, EMAIL, Then I come here, I say placeholder. Okay, see placeholder. I say enter your email address. Enter email address. RESS. Then I also come and I say required. Required, and I give it what my normal BR just to break it, and the HR like this. Then I come in here, and I'll come after the name, email, and I'll say phone. I say input, input type by PE type. I say equal to, and I say I want to use the text data type text. I come like this, and I say name. I say equal to, and I put my phone there, PHONE phone, and I come, I say placeholder, PLAC placeholder, and I say enter phone number, enter phone phone number, and I say required RQ. I say required, and I say VR, and I do HR. Then here it's a registration form. Maybe I want to put one more thing. I just want to make it as simple as possible. I've given the name, the email, the phone, and let me say I now say address, and I come and I say I do this, and I say text text area, and I say input, I say type type. I do this, and I say I put in a text text. Then I come the next thing after the input type, the name is equals to message, message. Message. Then the placeholder, and I say enter enter address. I also say required because I will require the email and address here. But now after this, before the required, I come to give it a row, ROW. Row should be equals to, maybe I say 10 px, and I'm coming. I do this 10 px, and I say columns, columns, and I say columns should be equals to maybe 70 px, and I say required. Then I close it. I started with text area, and I close it with text area, and I now do this, and I say what text I come and I close it with text area, with text area. I'm coming. Sorry, I'm coming. I close it with my text area. Then the next thing I want to do now, I want to give it my button, and I now say in put type, and I say submit SUBMIT. I come here, I say name, I say submit SUBMIT. Then I come here and I now say value. I do this, and I now say maybe SEND, send information. I do this, and I put my BR like this, and end it with my HR. Now I have finished building my simple registration form with HTML. Now let's save. Always make sure after you've done everything you want to do, you must save. You can see here now it's showing that it's not saved. So once I press my Control S, that's it, that is now saved. Then I go and view it in my browser. I come here now and I click the index.html. I now go on and I say what reveal in Explorer. So I'll go and see it in the browser, how it looks like in the browser. So before I now begin to do my CSS to bring in the style, so that I will know how I want to style it and how I want it to look like. Now the browser is trying to come up. It's coming up. Taking a little bit of time. Now this is what we have here. So now it's not looking like I want to do, so I have to go and do one or two things now to maybe make it look a little bit beautiful and everything. Now I now go back to what my VS Code. I go back to my VS Code and I come here. Sorry, I put my VR here and my HR here. That is one. And here I want to give it maybe 70 is too much. I give it maybe like 40, and I say Control Save, Control S. Then now I want to now start doing my styling. The last class we did inland styling. The purpose of this series is to show you the different types of styling we have in CSS. We did the inland styling where we did our styling inside our what? Inside our form, inside this div here now. Now we want to do the internal styling. In the internal styling and the external styling, we bring in what we call the CSS selectors. You can either use the parent selector, you can use the ID selector, you can use the class selector. There are so many of CSS selector, but today we'll be using the ID selector to style what we have to our HTML document. So now, if I want to use the ID selector, I come here, where the div here now, where I did the internal styling. Remember, I did an internal styling here in our last class. I now put a space and I now say give it an ID. I say ID, I give the ID a name. Let me say I give it the ID of demo, like this. Now I have given it an ID. I say save here. Then I come up to where we have our doctype.html. After our title here, I put the cursor here. I do this and I bring in the style, and I say STYLA. So this is where we'll be doing our styling from right now. So now this is where we'll be doing. I'm so sorry, it's a little bit. It's still there. This is where we'll be doing our styling from. I come here and I press enter. So now we can see that I gave it an ID of demo. So now, since it's an ID, I will use what we call the hashtag. This is the hashtag I use to identify a demo. If I had used the class, I would have used the period or the full stop. Now, but since I used an ID, the ID, I use a hashtag. And once I do that, I now do the curly braces like this, and I do this. Now I begin to give my styling now. I give it a background color, BACK, background color. Maybe I give it a background color of, let me pick this color here. Then after this one, I come outside, I do this background color, I give it a width, I give it a width of maybe 700 px, like I did the last time. I come, I give it a border radius border radius of 10 px. These are styling methods. I come, I give it a box shadow box shadow of the last one I did 7 px by 7 px by 5 px by 5 px. I now said the color I want to be the shadow was black, BLACK. I chose black like this. Then now I come here, I want to bring in an external styling. I do what we call transition, this is transition here. I do what we call transition, and I say all, and I want the transitions to last for just 1 second. I do this. Then once I do this, now I come down here and I do again. I do I put the hash demo here. Then I come here too, and I'll do another hash again, and I'll say demo hover, and I'll say hover, so VER, like this. Then I now use the curly braces again. I do this here. Then I now begin to say the transform, because I use the transition. Then I say the transform, and I pick scale here. Then I say 1 to 1. Now this is what we call an internal styling. The last class we did our styling here inside the form, but this one it was called inland styling, but this one is an external styling, and it is done here just below the title, the header. Now when I say save now, and once I save, I come here now to come and refresh to see what I have done. You can see that now this is it here now. This is what we have done here. Now I want to give it a heading. You can see that this is what the transition does. Now I want to give it a heading. I go and I give it a heading of registration form. I come here like this. Inside the div, I give it a H2. I say H2 like this, and I say re GIS registration FORM form, and I do Control S. There's something I don't like, actually like the color that I see there, so I want to change the color what to white. I say WHIT. I'm always in love with the white color. Normally, by default, it should show white, but I just want to put the white color there. Then after that, I come and I say save, and you can see that if you come back here now, if I refresh now, you can see that the shadow is not showing. So let us go and check why the shadow is not showing. Box shadow, sorry, I did not put my X here. So now let me do this, and if I and just save, Control S. Now let me go and check it. The box shadow should be showing now. Now you can see that now the shadow is now showing. The box shadow now it looks more presentable. You can put your name, your email address, your phone, and your address here. Then you submit the information. And now when you have done this, if you know if there's any other styling you want to do, you can come here in the heading here and begin to add your other stylings. This is what we call internal styling using the CSS selector. We now use the, instead of putting our style in here, we did and gave the div that we want to style, we gave it an ID, and now came up here, put the style, instead of put the style below the title, and now began to use what that demo to style everything that we had here. So now once you have done the HTML and you have done the styling CSS with the internal styling, this should be what you get. This should be what you get. Now you can see that the transition and the transform, you can see what it's making it do. Now this is a simple way of building a simple registration form using HTML and CSS, and the CSS method we use is what the internal styling method, where we did what we use what the CSS selector using the ID as what to style everything that we have. Thank you very much for watching and listening to the video. I urge you to go down to, if you've not subscribed, subscribe to my channel. Click the notification button so that as soon as I'm bringing more videos, you will get to receive them immediately I upload them. Thank you very much. And if there's any question you want to ask, you can go down to the below the my YouTube page and just send in your questions and every other thing you want to ask. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for listening. The next class will be coming on very soon, where we'll do what the external method of styling. Thank you very much.